Welcome to the Acclima Products Training Program. For greatest satisfaction, be sure to follow all instructions with care. This module details the 4 important steps of sensor installation: sensor location, sensor installation, wire routing, and wire connections. First, thoughtfully consider the location of the sensor. Your lawn likely has a mixture of sunny and shady areas. It's best to locate the sensor in an area receiving lots of sunlight. Select a sunny spot where the turf is thick and healthy. Also, select a location where the soil type is representative of the bulk of the lawn. Avoid low spots, areas receiving regular foot traffic, large tree roots, and other obstructions, the margins of concrete sidewalks and driveways, and the bottoms of slopes where water is likely to accumulate. Avoid areas likely to receive runoff from swimming pools, car washing, downspouts, and running hoses. If the sunny part of your lawn is on a slope or berm, place the sensor about 2/3 of the way from the bottom of the slope. Additionally, the sensor should be situated to provide an unobstructed route to a nearby valve box to allow easy installation of its connection wires. Finally, before you install your sensor, irrigate your whole landscape thoroughly. This will prepare the soil for an easy installation and bring the whole lawn to a similar moisture condition. After you've determined your sensor location and watered your lawn thoroughly, proceed with sensor placement. In addition to the controller, sensor, wire nuts, and grease caps that are included in the packaging, you'll need a shovel, pliers, a wire cutter stripper, and enough direct burial copper wire to extend the red, white, and black wires from the sensor to the valve. This wire needs to be a minimum of 18 gauge. A common round point shovel will work, but a square spade is ideal. It's also recommended you have a small round valve box to contain the wire connections. At your sensor location, cut a U-shaped incision into the sod about 18 inches square with the spade. Work the spade under the sod about 3 inches deep and fold the turf back to expose the roots. Then make an incision at the bottom of the U for the sensor wire to extend. Loosen the soil to make a bedding for the sensor. Lay the sensor flat and pack soil between the rods. Arrange the wires to extend through the bottom and replace the sod. Finally, tromp the sod down tightly. For newly placed sod, the sensor may be installed 2 to 3 inches deep. The sensor will not properly record evapotranspiration until the sod roots grow down to the sensor. This may take 2 to 3 weeks. For this reason, on a newly sodded lawn, bypass the Acclima system and operate the irrigation control in timer mode for 2 to 3 weeks. After the sod is established, enable the Acclima controller. For newly seeded lawns, install the sensor 3 inches below the surface. Seed and mulch the lawn as recommended, and then irrigate with the timer as recommended with the Acclima system in bypass mode. After 4 to 6 weeks, when the lawn is established and grass roots are in the zone of influence around the sensor, enable the Acclima controller. The next step in the sensor installation process is wire routing. With the spade, continue the slit trench from the sensor to outside of the valve box. You know where the sensor is today, but when the lawn is healed, you may be unable to recall its location. To help locate the sensor in the future and protect the wire connections, we recommend you install a 6-inch round valve box approximately 2 feet from the sensor. If a small valve box is not feasible, the wire connections can be made underground and buried with the direct burial connectors and grease caps included. Now, route the sensor cable in the slit trench into the small connection box. Next, route the 18-gauge minimum direct burial copper wires from the sensor connection box to the inside of the valve box. Push the wire under the side of the valve box or through a hole drilled in its side and thread it up to the valves for easy connection. It's best to use red, white, and black wires to match the sensor wire colors and avoid confusion. If you provide wires of different colors, be sure to label the wire at both ends with tape to assure proper identification during the connection phase. Your sensor and wiring is now ready for connection to the system. Wire connections require special attention. The soil moisture sensor uses the irrigation power line for communication. It is thus very important to make sure the wire connections are secure and watertight. Most troubleshooting issues can be tracked to an improper or corroded wire connection. Make your connections secure in accordance with these instructions to assure satisfactory performance. A proper connection requires clean, dry copper with the insulation stripped back approximately 3/4 of an inch. If the wires show signs of discoloration or corrosion, cut the wire back and restrip it. Let's proceed to connect the wires. At the sensor connection box, connect the red, white, and black wires to their corresponding wires using the supplied wire nuts. Start by stripping each wire approximately 3/4 of an inch. Then twist together in a clockwise direction, so that when installing the wire nut, they twist together tightly. At the valve box, you will connect the sensor to one of your irrigation valves. You may connect the sensor to any valve, but it's preferable to connect the sensor to the valve that waters the sensor location. 2 wires attach to the solenoid on the valve you selected. One is a common wire, which is usually attached to a white wire, and which may also be connected to other valve common wires. The other solenoid wire is the hot wire. Note the color of the hot wire. You will need to identify this particular wire later at the timer. Disconnect the hot wire from the solenoid and connect it to the red wire from the sensor. Next, connect the solenoid hot wire to the black wire from the sensor. Finally, remove the wire nut from the solenoid common wire and add the white wire from the sensor to the connection. In each case, inspect the wires to make sure the wires are stripped approximately 3/4 of an inch and that they are clean and dry. If the existing wires exhibit signs of corrosion, cut the wire back to uncorroded wire and strip the insulation for a proper connection. Twist the wires together and install the wire nuts. Do not install the weatherproofing grease caps over the wire nuts until the system has been tested and operates properly.